At the beginning of June 2022, Pamela completed her 7-step clutter clearing journey. This means she's cleared all her clutter and created the habit she needs to stay clutter-free forever. To complete her 7-step journey, Pamela completely cleared 11 rooms and areas in her home that had been completely cluttered for 23 years. She successfully cleared a porch, hallway and landing, laundry room, lounge room, dining room, 3 bedrooms, an attic, a double garage, and an off-site self-storage unit the size of a single garage. Her email inbox is now below 100 read and unread emails. 86% of all the clutter she categorized and sorted came off her clutter conveyor belt. Over 70 black sacks of donations of toys, clothes, etc. have been given to her local Goodwill store. She's had 6 trees planted in her name with the paperwork reward challenge that's available on the 7-step journey because she's shredded over 30 black sacks of paperwork clutter. She now has a family Sunday dinner at her home on the first Sunday of every month. Pamela provides the venue, family bring the food. With the weekly shopping challenge, Pamela started saving over £75 or $90 a week by the end of step 1, which covered the cost of her private journey membership. As a direct result of her doing her weekly paperwork clutter clearing sessions, by the end of step 2, Pamela had cancelled 3 monthly payments and 2 annual payments on her bank account that she didn't know were being taken, and which saved her a further £120 or $145 a month. These were 3 insurances she didn't need and an annual magazine subscription for 2 magazines she hadn't read in years. By the end of her journey, Pamela had emptied her self-storage unit and was saving a further £150 or $180 a month. With the money she's saving, Pamela now has a weekly cleaner to maintain a clean home. This also gives her the accountability to do her visual check-ins before the cleaner arrives each week. She continues to make photo albums of all her sentimental things with the help of her 3 teenage grandchildren. She entertained friends and family at her home for her 75th birthday. She had a garden party, something she could never have done before because she was too embarrassed and she couldn't have an indoors wet weather plan because of the clutter. She has also bought her first ever coffee table for the centre of her lounge living room because she knows it's not going to become a clutter magnet. Pamela started her private journey at the beginning of the pandemic. As Pamela explains, at the start of the pandemic, I was like a rabbit in the headlights. My anxiety increased because I was forced to stay in my cluttered home more. I realised my clutter had made me go out a lot just so that I could ignore it and tell myself I was too busy to deal with it. I was one of those people who convinced myself I didn't have time to deal with my clutter. But the truth was I was in a vicious circle of going out to avoid my clutter, which then became the excuse for not dealing with my clutter. I was someone who had to shield at the start of the pandemic due to health issues, so that didn't help my situation, because whereas I'd always gone out to see friends and family, get my medications, etc., now people were coming to my home. Even though they only came to my doorstep, it was still very stressful for me because they could see the clutter in my porch and hallway. That's why I was never going to have anyone come to my home to help me with my clutter, and why the 7-step journey has been perfect for me. My family were really good to me during the pandemic. They don't live nearby, so to begin with, we had a family Zoom call every day. My grandchildren thought up games we could play, and that was fun. After about 3 weeks, I realised that as much as I loved the family, they needed to get into a new routine, and so did I. I needed to find a project that would help me and make the most of the time. I'm not getting any younger, so I could either procrastinate again and use the pandemic as an excuse not to deal with it, or I could come out of this pandemic in a better place than when I went into it. Now, I've been around clutter clearing for many years. I'd signed up for Claire's Top Tips about 10 years ago, but I'd always made excuses about why it was never the right time or a good time to start my 7-step journey. So when Claire's emails came through, I felt like it was a sign that clearing my clutter could be something positive that I look back on the pandemic and remember. I couldn't be any worse off than I was after all. And you know what? I'm so glad I did. The learning in step 1 definitely keeps the brain working and gives you a routine to follow, which I found hard to begin with because I don't like routines, but it gave me a reason to get up and get going each day. I must admit, I'm surprised by just how much clutter I had. You get so used to just seeing your clutter. You know you've got it, but until you start working through it, especially the paperwork, you don't appreciate just how much you've actually got. I didn't realise just how big some of my rooms and areas in my home were until the piles had gone. To go from sitting on one seat of the sofa that's actually clear to being able to put a coffee table with candles in the middle of the room and know it won't become a clutter magnet gives me such a sense of achievement and pride. And I know I couldn't have done this on my own. I finally feel comfortable in my own home and comfortable about who I am and what I want. I've learned so much about who I am on the journey. It's not just about the clutter. Now the pandemic is gone, and so is my clutter. If you're ready to start your 7-step journey to your clutter-free life and clear your clutter forever, just like Pamela, click on the link with this video and let's get started now.